Thank you. Good afternoon. It's my pleasure to welcome everybody to the January 18th, 2024 open meeting of the Guelph Police Services Board. I'd like to start off with our territorial acknowledgement. As we gather, let us take time to reflect on our privilege to live and work in Guelph, a city built over rich Indigenous histories. We are the guests here, and we should reflect upon the responsibilities to care for this land, the people who live here today, and the generations to come. If our actions today can move us toward reconciliation, we should take pause and make those decisions with intention and gratitude. This place we call Guelph has served as the traditional lands and a place of refuge for many peoples over time, but more specifically, the Atitawandaronk and the Haudenosaunee. This land is held as treaty lands and territory with the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. Guelph lies directly adjacent to the Haldimand Tract and is part of the long-established traditional hunting grounds of the Six Nations of the Grand River. Many First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people who have come from across Turtle Island call Guelph home today. So the first thing I'm going to do is ask if there are any conflicts of interest pursuant to the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. Hearing none, I'll declare that item closed. And I'm going to ask now if there are any motions coming from the closed meeting. Mayor Guthrie?
Thank you, and through you, Mr. Chair. We have two at this time coming forward. The first is an amount of $600 for the Big Brothers, Big Sisters event. And the second is $1,000 to the Beyond Borders event. And that comes out of the community account. And that's moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Alt.
All right, I'm going to call the vote then. All in favor? Opposed? I declare that item carried. Thank you. Next item is the approval of the agenda. Now, if any member would like to take any item out of the consent agenda prior to approving of the agenda, we can do that. Otherwise, I'll need a mover and a seconder of the consent agenda. Jane, seconded by Mayor Guthrie. All in favor? Opposed? I declare that carried. Next item on the agenda is discussing the format of our meetings, and by that it is referring to whether we are going to meet with an in-person portion or are we going to continue to do our meetings exclusively virtual. Councillor Alt, I see your cat has an opinion on this matter.
Always does.
Okay. Would anybody have any thoughts on what format they would like to see the meetings continue? Councillor Alt?
Yes. Thanks, Chair McSherry. If you are looking for a motion, which would be my thoughts as well, that we continue with the virtual meetings until the spring and review again in the spring. Rationale for that is we are in a heavy respiratory illness season, and I think it's safer.
Okay. Okay. Seconder for that motion? Okay, hearing none. Any other thoughts from any other member? Mayor Guthrie?
Yeah, I think I want to maybe kind of capture what Phil just said, but just do it in a different way. I think I would move a motion that we just maintain the virtual option at this time, and that's my motion. And then as because we can bring up a conversation in the spring or budget time in the fall, or like to look to amend it. But I think for continuity at this time, I think I'd like to just kind of strike an actual decision. So I would move a motion that that the board approves a position of a virtual meeting at this time, just at this time, and that's my motion.
Thank you. Sorry, Councillor Alt?
I think he's seconding it. Yeah.
Seconding it. Okay. Any other discussion on this matter? Okay. Hearing none, I will call the vote. All in favor of the Mayor Guthrie's opposed? I declare that item carried. Next item on the agenda is the Chief's monthly report. So I'll turn that over to you, Chief Kobe.
Perfect. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Can you hear me? Just a thumbs up so I know you can hear.
Yes.
So I just wanted to start by acknowledging the correspondence dated December 8th from the City of Guelph in relation to their November 28th, 2023 Council resolution regarding intimate partner violence, that the City of Guelph Council respectfully requests Guelph Police Service Board to share a report that outlines how the police service meets or intends to address the recommendations contained in the inquest. So I just wanted to acknowledge that. I thought that was important that we acknowledge receipt of that, and also let the board know that with your support, we look forward to providing a presentation in relation to this important subject at our open meeting in February.
Okay. Thank you.
And then my only other update is I wanted to update the board again, further to our conversations last fall, particularly with respect to supporting our community resource officers, and even more particularly supporting our downtown. We're in the process now of filling the second dedicated community resource officer for the downtown. And I suspect we'll have that position filled with an incumbent at our next meeting in February. So just to kind of remind the board and the community, so we have a full-time community resource officer, Connor. Everybody knows Connor. As part of our discussions last fall, we committed to staffing a second full-time community resource officer to support the downtown. In addition, I've spoken with Ms. Fishburne this week, and they're in the process of staffing the dedicated impact worker that the board is sponsoring for the next several years. So that'll be a dedicated CMHA worker to be with our members downtown. So that'll be Connor, a second community resource officer, and an impact worker. And again, that's in addition to our frontline patrols. We have 4 frontline patrols, and each of those platoons dedicate one member to primarily support the downtown. So that's in addition to the names I already mentioned. And from previous discussions, if you recall, we established that's a 1-year rotation. 2 are replaced in January, 2 in June each year. So there's some consistency. 2 new members that will be joining our existing team there is Constable Briar Smith, and then a name that I suspect some people will remember, Constable Mark O'Connell. Mark will be joining the downtown to support the downtown team as well. So other than that, so I'll stop there for a sec to see if there's any questions, and then I just have a little bit more of a follow-up. Nope. Okay. And then I also wanted to thank our colleagues at City Hall, whether it be bylaw, etc. And I just wanted to, on behalf of our service, extend our invitation to our colleagues at the City of Guelph, whether it be bylaw or whomever, any support we can provide in relation to our downtown, our community as a whole. Please, through either our CROs or directly to my office, our City of Guelph colleagues are invited to engage us in any support or assistance we can provide. And that's all I have, barring any questions.
Okay. Thank you, Chief Kobe. Any questions from our members? Hearing none, I'll declare that closed. Is there any new business? Hearing none, I advise that our next open meeting will be held on Thursday, February 15th, 2024 at our normal meeting time of 2:30 in the afternoon. At this point, I ask if there's for a motion to adjourn. Member or Vice Chair Armstrong and Councillor Alt. In favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you.
Did everyone else see that? Phil, sorry, Mr. Chair. Is it your birthday, Phil?
Why? What happened?
You just had a
No.
You just had a whole
my
bunch of balloons go up around your screen, like digital balloons. Like,
I have no idea why that is. That's hilarious. I'll take the balloons.
we thought you were celebrating. We thought you were celebrating that it was an adjournment. You're like, go